know. I mean, they're anything from a right angle, rear end, backing up. These, and don't forget, these are self-identified by the individuals in these cars themselves, saying, yeah, I was talking on the phone, or I was
Oh wow, is that right?
So you can just imagine the number that really are attributed to distracted driving. We just don't know.
What about fatal collisions? How many fatal collisions can be attributed to distracted driving?
Well, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. We have none in Calgary this year, or last year.
That's good.
But there are many jurisdictions across Canada and the United States. We get notified, and you see the pictures and the case reports. It happens, and it's increasing, unfortunately.
I have to wonder what insurance companies take would be on the whole situation of distracted driving. You would think that those people would be some of the riskiest people to insure. And I understand you guys aren't qualified to answer that per se, but I hope you can comment on maybe should they be concerned? I mean, probably.
Well,
I hope so.
If they have a bad driving record, their insurance is going to be impacted. So,
which of course lends itself to demerits being issued.
Correct.
Is that the big push then?
Well, yeah. The deterrence is the big push, and is increasing the fine and no demerits the answer, or is leaving the fine the same and adding demerits? That's up to the legislators to decide. We enforce the law; we don't create it.
Yeah, that's right. It's frustrating at times, I'm sure. It's one of those offenses where essentially it's up to officer discretion. It's not like running a red light. It's not like blowing as an impaired driver, for example. These are discretionary fines that are being given out. That must be somewhat of a challenge, I think.
Well, it can be. I mean, you get people saying, we're the judge, jury, and executioner all in one. That's not it at all. If you take away discretion from an officer, you've got robots. And that's not what police officers are there for. There could be a very good reason this gentleman's speeding. He's on the way to the hospital with a pregnant wife. Distracted driving, if I see somebody speaking on their cell phone at an intersection at a red light, their driving isn't necessarily impacted. But when they take off from that intersection, it will be. So I might pull them over, say, you know what, it's illegal even to hold it. I'm not going to give you a ticket this time, but please put your phone down while you're driving. That's discretion.
That is discretion. This is what officers, I assume, are trained?
Well, absolutely.
To practice it?
Right through recruit to officer coach phase on the street and well into their careers. So,
do you think, I can't help it, but wonder if people perhaps think that they can drive with impunity, distracted or otherwise, and get away with it because they realize that it is an officer discretion ticket, where it's not like burning through a stop sign. You think there's any weight in that, Rob?
I think a lot of what people do, or they're just unaware of what they're doing at the time. As you had mentioned, you'll see people run a stop sign and they don't even know they've run a stop sign. I've seen that doing driver assessments with people, that they don't stop, and I tell them they didn't stop, and they don't even realize it because they've got these habits. So a lot of things people are doing out there are just habits. Some good, some bad habits, but they're habits. We drive by habit.
Goofballs and headphones. I see this on the road quite a bit. I don't quite understand this. The headphones as they're driving. Clearly they can't hear, I wouldn't think, EMS, police behind them. Is this part of the I don't believe it's part of distracted driving legislation currently.
No, it isn't. There's no volume or decibel level that's attributed to your radio or your headset that is included in distracted driving. But again, common sense has to play a factor. If you've got a guy with his headphone and his iPod ringing in his ear, how is he going to hear the fire truck or the ambulance
exactly, that's just it.
Or somebody honking their horn? You have to pay attention when you're driving. And in my view, that is distracted driving.
I would agree. And it's mostly young people, I have to say. Are you pushing these people to smarten up? I mean, is that part of the program? Like, guys, you can't be wearing headphones on the road, because I do see it quite a bit.
All our programs, we educate drivers about the dangers of distracted driving, whether they be teenagers or adult programs. We educate people about it, and it's definitely a no-no.
And Kevin, I would argue even on this last point that you made, if I was in a police vehicle, lights and siren going, and this individual was oblivious to me, and when I went around him, I could see that he had an iPod. If I did stop and issue him a ticket, I would try and articulate that to the court, that he was obviously distracted, even though it's not written in black and white.
I think that's fair. Folks, we're going to jump to another quick break and hear from the Rant Pack. Stay with us.
The thing that bugs me the most about distracted drivers is not necessarily the people that are on their phone. Yes, drives me crazy when people are texting, because that's idiotic. But people who are on their phone, not so much. It's more the people that are literally distracted. They are unaware that there are other people on the road. They don't know where the signs are. They don't know where they're going. They haven't checked the map. They don't know what the speed limit is. They're unaware that they're blocking traffic. They're not aware that they're breaking the rules. Those guys, those distracted drivers drive me nuts.
The thing I think about the distracted driving laws in Calgary are that I think we're legalizing everything way too much. We run to the law to solve our problems. I don't know if that's necessarily wise. Distracted driving is going to be there, but we're going to reach a point where we're going to absolutely legalize everything. We're going to be stuck there, and we're going to turn into a society where we need some distraction to drive. That's what I feel like.
Welcome back, folks. We only have a few minutes here to wrap up our discussion, guys. I hate to beat a dead horse, but I do want to kind of get the word out there. Okay, well, I see a lot of, I see Momsy driving around with the kids in the car. The kids are having a fight. To me, that's as deadly, if not more deadly, than using a cell phone, texting, talking on the phone. I'm not so sure that currently falls under current legislation. Ron, do you think it should?
Well, I think if somebody was to have a crash or cause a problem because of something they're doing in the car, they would be charged. I mean, the police have the grounds to charge somebody for that as it sits now, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. If a person got into a collision because of that, you'd be charged with undue care and intention.
Undue care and intention.
There are other laws beside distracted driving. Distracted driving is basically to eliminate handheld distractions and in the car distractions, electronic. You can say anything's distracted driving. Somebody merging onto Deerfoot Trail at 60 kilometers an hour is very dangerous. Is that distracted? No, there are other laws and ways we can deal with that as well.
I see that a lot, actually, merging onto the main thoroughfares at a low rate of speed. Is this one of the largest reasons people are failing their driving tests?
That gets into a visual skill, why people are doing that. They're not looking far enough ahead. You'll see people will come up where there's a continuous lane, a free flow lane it's called, and people will stop because they're not looking ahead. If they were to look ahead, they'd see they've got their own lane. I wouldn't say that's necessarily one of the main reasons people fail their driver's test. A big reason people fail their driver's test is they don't drive to conditions. They don't show proper awareness.
Is there not one, I know it's a little off topic, but I am quite curious, there's not one, I guess, fault that's turning up time and time again with new drivers?
I would think if you were to talk to examiners, it would be not driving to conditions properly. So whether that's too slow, too fast, not entering an intersection properly, that type of thing.
Winter driving as well. And we touched on it earlier with the fines that I think should potentially be doubled, if not more demerits, if they are ever issued. If you're driving, with undue care and attention in the winter, I'm hard-pressed to find winter driving courses in Calgary. Are they out there?
We actually have a hands-on winter driving program, and we have an online winter driving program. We also have an online distracted driver program. So we have programs
There is
for all
programs.
these.
And how's the enrollment?
It's actually very good.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm always seeing those drivers on the road, especially in weeks like this week.
Unfortunately, with a lot of drivers, once they get their driver's license, they think that's it. I don't have to worry about it anymore. That's the start of your driving career. You should try and educate yourself all through your driving career.
Do we need to have refresher courses, do we think, for drivers?
Well, we do. There are defensive driving courses that people can take to decrease the amount of demerits that are attached to their license. To make it mandatory, to the last gentleman's point, are we going to make laws for everything we do now? No. And if common sense was more common, we wouldn't have to have half as many laws as we have.
Is there too many old people driving cars that maybe shouldn't be driving cars nowadays? And these aren't distracted drivers for the same reasons that I think conventional distracted driving is happening. I think these are people that maybe lack the. How's this? A couple of 90-year-olds having a conversation in a car, I think, is a little bit different than a couple of 40-year-olds having a conversation in a car.
It's funny, we had this conversation not too long ago in our traffic section, and that demographic of society is increasing exponentially with baby boomers retiring and people getting older. But I think it's incumbent upon the families of these individuals to monitor them and encourage them to go and get tested again if they see their skills deteriorating, because these skills do deteriorate with time. Your reflexes get slower. And if they have loved ones that they're concerned about, then it's up to you to monitor that.
Fair enough. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We're out of time. As always, an informative discussion, and you can keep the conversation going on Facebook as well as Twitter. If you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, by all means, don't be a stranger and drop us a line. Take care.